Hello, everyone! Welcome back to Charmed Rewind! Woo!
Whoa!
It's time for everyone to wake up!
We're back!
We're back! We did another poll with the random number generator on Patreon, and the winner this time, by the way, it was pretty close. There was a two-parter for the end of season 6, where they all turned into goddesses, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I'm ready for this kind of action. It did not win. The winner of this poll was season 2, episode 12, Awaken!
Wow. Wake me up inside.
Can't wake up!
Would this been around the time for that song? They could have played that.
Oh man, maybe that was what they replaced.
Yeah.
The music replacement. It'd be so funny if they did that song. Yeah. So we're smack dab in the middle of season 2. So I remembered this episode because of the ninja toy stuff. I did vaguely remember them kind of trying as well, like, which made the ninja toy stuff like funnier to me because like it was like almost trying to be a real show, and then that's in there.
Yeah, the ninja toy neighbor Dan that kind of brings it down.
Oh, once you know you're in the weeds when you get to neighbor Dan, huh?
Phoebe has some really bad delivery in this and also fashion, so she's not helping in the episode either.
I think, like, yes, it was pretty bad, but I feel like with Phoebe in this episode, it's annoying but kind of in an endearing way versus, like, shut up.
Yeah, it just means she has some really bad deliveries a few times on lines.
I'm gonna do my baby voice.
And also, damn doctors.
Yeah, so anything else you want to go over before we get into the episode, Phelan?
No, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, well, we open on P3. Piper is cutting up some exotic fruit and coughing. This is all very plot relevant.
Yeah. She's like, no, this is for the customers.
Yeah, let me just cough all over it.
It's fine. I feel fine. I'm just serving people drinks. Here's your shot.
Yeah, we talked about an episode not that long ago where the Wendigo, where she's sick and she's like putting her sweaty face on meat. Like she's just not very, she's not sanitary is what I'm saying.
No.
Like,
P3 gets shut down like temporarily in this episode. I think that should have been made permanent.
Yeah, really. That the fruit was plot relevant because it involved food at all. Because she was a chef and she wanted to own a restaurant, and then she got sidetracked by this club where they don't really seem to serve food.
No, like she completely forgets her dream until like I think the last episode. She finally decides to be a chef again. Like, oh yeah, I just remembered. That's what I was into.
She really shouldn't be.
No. She has no she's purposely circumventing safety laws to bring her stupid fruit into the club.
Oh, everything is on Piper in this episode. Yeah, so she's coughing, cutting up some fruit. Phoebe shows up. Phoebe is wearing some doozies this episode. This was absolutely insane. So the first thing that we see when Phoebe shows up is like, whoa, like I am taken aback immediately. She is wearing a fuzzy pink shawl. This is all shades of pink, by the way, so this is just a big pink nightmare. Fuzzy pink shawl, a flower print blouse, a flower print jeans, a flower beanie, and then this glittery shoulder bag, and then a choker that ties in the back in a big bow. So there's a lot to take in visually at this moment.
She's trying to like blend in with some stuffed animals or something.
It's hideous, kind of endearing, kind of terrible.
Look at this! Look!
Phoebe brags about being a college student. This is relevant in other episodes, not brought up again in this one, but she is signed up for classes.
Very Maggie.
She says that this is the hugest thing she's done since she came back home. Aside from killing demons and stuff, I guess signing up for college classes was also the hugest thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that that's an aside. Oh, yeah, that other dumb thing we do. But, who cares about the demons and shit?
Piper does a little cough of foreshadowing to show she's got the consumption.
The black lung.
The black lung. Phoebe's like, hey, you're too busy. You're running yourself ragged. You need to take care of yourself. I see that you're feeling a little run down right now. And Piper's basically like, shut up! Slice some of this fruit and get to work. Does she pay her sisters? Because she's like, yeah, it's good you can work tonight, as if this is an arrangement they always have. Does she pay them?
I thought they all had ownership in the club, so I thought they're all supposed to work it.
Oh, I guess they do. Yeah, they all have ownership, but Piper's really the only one that seems to consistently like be a manager there.
That's
I think
true.
like the others just kind of pitched in to help buy it with her for her dream, of owning a club.
There's probably some agreement. I mean, Phoebe does like nothing useful anyway, so I'm sure part of the agreement was Phoebe was supposed to work sometimes.
I guess, yeah. But she, she probably like something relevant happened to fighting demons and she's like, it's just too much. I can't work at the club anymore.
Well, then she never does, like pretty soon after this anyway, and then Piper forgets the club exists after a while. Except like in this episode, it's like super important to her. Like she's willing to go to work even if she's dying to keep this club going, which is really funny thinking about later when she's just baby crazed and like, do we even still have P3 anymore?
Whatever. Anyway, back to plot important fruit. Okay. This is a kiwano fruit from South America. And she says it's great for Mai Tais, which is why she smuggled the fruit into the United States.
Yeah.
Circumventing the law.
And it bypassed the safety checks on it.
Yeah.
Because she got them from like a black market dealer or something. Someone who just smuggles them right off the boat.
Yeah, like, and she's like,
It's not a big deal. It's fruit. It's not drugs.
But like, this is just for her Mai Tais. And also, it's not fruit that you can't get. You just have to wait for it in quarantine. So is there some rush on these Mai Tais that she couldn't wait for this fruit?
It's completely unimportant.
To get through the normal safety checks?
This is so stupid.
She's an idiot in this episode.
Oh, my mistake.
Cut to Prue and Lochlyn Munro as Jack. They are at Buckland's appraising a Monet painting. We've talked about Lochlyn Munro before. He was her boyfriend for a short period of time. He pranked her with his twin brother, who is a coroner or something. Like they were switching off, pretending to be each other.
Yeah, stupid.
That's a great prank to play on your love interest.
You want to get together with me? Or remember that hilarious prank I played?
It should have ended right then and there with the identical twin switcheroo.
But Lochlyn Munro is just too hot.
I mean, he's better looking than some of these, like, lamos that they have as their love interest. It's like generic 90s, it's like handsome man, where you're like, I will forget your face immediately after this.
He is Betty's dad, the Black Hood, after all. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, the Black Hood's so hot. He's so hot right now.
And he was the Burger King who drowned in a toilet.
Yeah. So anyway, he's being creepy as fuck in this scene. So they're looking over this painting, determining if it's legit or not.
Supposedly.
Yeah, supposedly. Prue is describing the paint strokes. She's like, they were being stroked with great vigor.
Like, I stroke off thinking about you, Prue.
He might as well have. He was basically saying that. She says, like, the strokes with great vigor, and he's just like, oh, he was a randy little painter, huh?
Yeah.
And then she's like, these strokes are beautifully rendered. And he says, I got no complaints about my view either. Ew! Get out of here!
Naked woman!
I guess they are an item at this point, right? Like, it's not like...
They're sort of, because, she does break it off by the end.
Yeah, I guess they were together, it's sort of like resentfully. Like, it didn't really seem like she liked him that much. But I think through this whole thing, like, I don't remember a single episode of them being together where I bought that they were together. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, it seems like one of those relationships that's barely a relationship.
Yeah, it was a relationship of, I don't even know, convenience. I don't know. I guess that's why she broke it off with him. They weren't really good together.
Yeah, it's like because they both work at Buckland's, I guess. It's just like, all right, I guess. You're here.
They're testing him out, and they're like, nah, we didn't really like this storyline, so get out of here.
Rather, they kept him around rather than neighbor Dan, though.
What? That's true. What if they got rid of him, like, they got rid of Jack, but they kept his brother, and that's how they're like, we don't think this character's working, but we like Lochlyn and Munro, so you can get with the twin now, and we'll change it up.
They totally should have done that.
That'd be hilarious.
And then, like, he sees her out with his brother and jumps off the charmed bridge.
No, here's what it is. It's like a Thomas Riker situation, right? Like he's just constantly in the shadow of his identical brother. Like, oh, that could have been me.
He becomes like the ultimate evil because of what Prue did.
Yes. Got with his coroner brother in the Hawaiian shirts. He seemed like the more fun brother anyway. I wanted to see more of the weird coroner brother.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Oh, I wrote this down. So when she says these are beautifully rendered, and he says, I have no complaints about my view either, she looks about ready to break him in half. She looks back at him like, ha! They're supposedly together at this point. And she's like, hey, is everything sexual to you? And she's like, oh, I don't think haven't you ever thought about me? Which is weird because they're together, right?
Yeah, supposedly.
But he's asking these things like they're not together. Maybe they're like on and off. I'm not really sure what this conversation's about.
Yeah, it's very weird.
He's kind of like, I want to know where we stand. So maybe it's kind of like, maybe they are, maybe they aren't.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know. They have not done it together, I guess, because I imagine he wouldn't be asking that if they had slept together.
She's only done it with his brother.
Only with his brother. Their boss comes in there basically to say to get to work.
Hey, you guys being professional in here? Nope. Okay, nope. Bye.
So at P3, Phoebe's like, hey, Piper, you should go home because you're sick as hell. And she's removed her poncho, and Piper faints at her flower smock. She's like, she couldn't take it.
I have not sweat on enough people's drinks enough to go home yet.
You don't understand. My sweat is great for my ties.
They play some terrible replacement music for a long time. Like, it's not just transition. Like, it starts as a transition, but then it goes over, like, cutting to, like, Piper's in the hospital, and it's kind of a serious moment, but the music plays forever, and it's really bad.
Oh, yeah. It destroys whatever mood is supposed to be there.
Yeah, the charmed mood has been destroyed. She's got like tubes in her nose and stuff, so like it's a real serious hospital moment. Prue's really sad. Piper wakes up and she complains that this was bad for business, that she fainted.
Yeah, like you think about this and you think about Piper later where she's forgotten she even owns the club. It's like, what?
Yeah. They're waiting for blood test results to figure out what's wrong with her. And Piper's like, it's probably something trendy like mono or Epstein-Barr. Seems like a very 2000 whatever line.
Yeah.
Phoebe's in the waiting room, and a little wheelchair boy comes up to talk to her sweetly. He's like, why are you so sad? I'm a little wheelchair boy. Oh, your sister's sick. Maybe she has the same thing as me.
Yeah, they don't know what it is, so it must be the same thing.
We never really get a conclusion to this kid's story, by the way. Did he die?
We can only assume.
Whatever he had, he didn't make it.
Yeah, definitely. Especially not after talking to Phoebe.
Yeah, Phoebe, oh my gosh. Okay, so Phoebe sees that he has this, like, ninja doll in his lap, and he's like, yeah, I found this in the children's ward. And she's trying to be all playful with him, and she's like, oh, well, this doll's actually a magical wizard. As if she said witch would be bad, but wizard is fine. I don't really understand that.
Yeah, I didn't understand that correction either.
And then she says that this wizard can fight off his sickness. What a terrible thing to promise to an ill child.
Yeah.
You don't know if it's terminal or nothing. Yeah, this ninja will literally kick the sickness ass. Okay.
The way she's talking to this boy, too, it seems like she thinks he's about, like, 5 years younger than he is. It's like, yeah.
Ma'am, I'm 15.
Yeah. Like, how old do you think I am? 3? Like, get out of here. I'm gonna buy that this stupid action figure's gonna save me, you idiot.
I guess to be fair, she seems to talk to everyone like they're toddlers. Like,
I love you, Piper.
Do something. Do it.
Do you think she met anyone with this sickness when she was volunteering at the hospital in the Misha Collins episode? That one time that she used to volunteer at the hospital.
Handing out ninja dolls to everyone, like, these ninja dolls will save you.
So this is when the doctor approaches. This fucking doctor in this episode is the worst fucking doctor in the world.
He's amazingly bad.
He's so terrible. He approaches Phoebe and she's like, hey, where's the regular doctor? And he's like, no, don't worry. I'm going to take care of this. Oh, these interns are here with me because they study the same thing I do. And she's like, well, what do you study? And he's like, oh, infectious disease. Oh, by the way, Piper probably has an infectious disease. Like, that's how you break the news to her that her sister, like, has some viral illness.
Every time he's, like, has to break any kind of news, he does it in the worst way possible.
Like, why did you do it this way? Why? They don't know anything. And you're like, oh, yeah, by the way, she's some horrible disease.
Yeah, I'm a specialist and it's really bad. Enjoy that.
Yeah. So Piper has contracted Arroyo fever. It's a blood disease that's rarely seen outside the U.S. And it turns out there's some flies that hid out in her illegal fruit and infected her.
It's rarely seen in the U.S.?
Rarely seen in the U.S. You're right. I said that wrong. But yes, so it's the reason that she got infected is because of this illegal fruit.
Yeah.
Like a big dum-dum. And Phoebe's like, hey, is this life-threatening? And then the doctor continues to act evasive for no reason.
Yeah.
Like he's just like, we'll see. You be a little better about this, dude?
Like, I think it's a real coin flip right now. Let's see how it goes.
She may die, she may not. We'll see how it turns out. Was the fruit good?
I'm gonna try some of it. No, that's pretty bad.
So he heads out, and Phoebe just hops on top of Piper's legs, like...
Yeah. She does this multiple times in this episode. Piper's, like, dying in her hospital bed. Phoebe's like...
She does, like... Yeah, she does, like, a leg drop onto the bed. And
Phoebe has betrayed on WCW.
Dun, 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 dun. She and Prue then proceed to creepily stare at Piper with these big goober smiles on their faces as if they're waiting for her to die. Like, yeah. You might die.
And we go inside Piper's head for a rare just thought, and she's like, I wish I would die.
There's nothing worth living for.
She doesn't have Leo to torture yet, so she hasn't found her passion in life yet.
I guess it's my time.
She does seem very easily willing to die.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Phoebe's like, hey, we should just call Leo to heal her. And Piper's like, well, Leo's out of our lives. He's not our white lighter anymore. And I got neighbor Dan now, so everything's cool.
Yeah. So don't cure me of this thing that might kill me because, neighbor Dan might get sad that I called my ex.
Yeah, what? Like, I don't remember where the storyline's at this point. I guess something happened where he's not their white lighter anymore, but it's like, this raises a lot of questions.
He was fired.
Yeah, he's always off and on throughout the show. Do they not have another white lighter in the meantime?
I don't know. I feel like this happens a lot in Charmed where they don't have a white lighter. And it's like, shouldn't they have one assigned to them? Aren't they like the most important witches to the elders? Yeah. And then they're just like, nah.
Yeah, like, I don't understand the logic here. The white lighter's there to protect them, but they can't do it if it's something that's not magical but if they're like the chosen ones, they're just gonna let one of them die of some stupid fruit disease because the rules.
Well, I mean, she brought it on herself. We're not gonna help.
By the way, the punishment for breaking these rules is very, very minimal. So it feels like it was a risk that they should have been willing to take.
Yeah.
Why the hell did you do that?
And what's Neighbor Dan gonna fucking do? He's not a white lighter. He's a greasy butt crack poo flap. What? I got Neighbor Dan now?
He might come in and sweat on her. Maybe she thinks that's good, considering how she started this episode.
He sweats his grease out of his hair. Squeezes his hair out on her.
Poo flap. And like Phoebe sees his poo flaps, like that'd be a great shirt. It's a little fashion foreshadowing.
Shit. That's a pee flap, excuse you.
Yeah, but you never know. She might need another shirt, so the poo flap might be the perfect one for
Where's the
another.
other side of the pants? She made the other...
Exactly.
If she turned around, the back of it is the poo flap. You're going to know what we're talking about at the end of the episode, guys. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
All right.
They'll build up to that.
Yeah, we'll leave you hanging on that one. I love that Piper would rather die than deal with that loser Leo.
Yeah.
Just let me die.
I'm so over him.
Stupid flannel shirt idiot.
The next day, Leather Pants Prue goes to Buckland's. She wants to know about this Monet and what's the status. Lochlyn Munro is like, hey, I know you're tired because of your sister. You should go home and rest. And Prue has an emotional moment. She's like, I'm not scared by a lot, but I'm scared at this moment. I don't want to lose my sister. I think the acting was fine.
Yeah. Then he goes, is this a bad time to tell you that I switched places with my twin again?
I know. I would have loved. I was thinking about it in that moment. He hugs her and he's like, I'm not really good at this stuff, but he's trying to comfort her. And I'm like, what if it was his twin in that moment? Like, oh man, we picked a bad time to do this. Abort!
Thought this would be funny, but on the other one.
My bad. She flings him into a wall. Meanwhile, in a sort of parallel, at home, Phoebe is being comforted by the big, strong arms of neighbor Dan. It does kind of seem like she's trying to steal him away from Piper while she's sick.
Yeah, there's a few times it comes off that way in this episode.
It kind of seems like Phoebe wants to fuck neighbor Dan. She gets a call from Prue. She says, well, Piper's gotten worse. Now things are serious. She's fallen into a coma. She's seen the later episodes of the show. She fell asleep. She could not wake up. She gained Phoebe's power of premonition, and she's like, it's not worth it.
Wow, babies, and I lactate poison.
The doctor comes in once again with his great bedside manner. Nothing you can do about it. She may wake up, she may die. We'll see.
Does he say she may? I feel like he doesn't even give them that little bit of hope. I feel like he's like, yeah, no, there's pretty much no coming back at this point.
No, I think he says like, well, it's up to her. We've done all we can do. She can decide if she wants to die or not, but our hands are clean.
Yeah. We can't do anything more besides sit here and eat this sandwich.
The funniest thing happens. They go in there and they see Piper. She's in the bed. She's in a coma. All the doctors around her. Phoebe starts weeping. And then they cut to neighbor Dan. He's trying. He's trying to pretend to cry. But he's got like his lips pursed and his cheeks kind of puffed out as if he is like gonna laugh and trying to hold it in.
Just like... Stupid dying Piper.
The amount of heavy lifting emotionally that they try to put on neighbor Dan in this episode was far more than he could handle.
Yeah.
Because he fails at many opportunities.
This should have proven that this should have been his last episode and not Lochlyn Munro's.
No. His last episode being the French Stewart Genie episode was the perfect out for him. Unless you count the file folder that determined
the file
that they murdered
folder,
him.
Yeah. His death was great. I mean, it would never change anything about that.
So Prue and Phoebe decide they're going to look through the Book of Shadows, figure out how to heal Piper. Personal gain, be damned. Phoebe's a little worried about it because it's the early seasons where they kind of occasionally mentioned personal gain and worried about it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Phoebe's like, how about we just call Leo before we do any spells? Let's call Leo. And Prue's like, well, Piper said not to. While she's in a coma.
Yeah.
And Phoebe's like, well, at least she'll be alive.
Yeah, she can be pissed at us, but she'll be alive.
Prue's like, oh, we don't even know how to contact Leo. This is going to be so hard. So they just, it's also very harrowing.
Yeah.
They go over and they're like, Leo. 2 seconds later, he appears.
Wow. This is going to be really hard to get Leo. Hey. Oh.
Yeah, them realizing that they could just go, Leo, and him appear, that's the beginning of the end for him, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You should never have let them know that.
this is kind of a different rule than later. He's like, oh, well, I could hear you because I was nearby watching.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like later, it's just no matter where. He could be like in France helping some innocents and Leo! Fine.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, I know about Piper, but the thing is, the elders won't let me interfere.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason.
Well, I mean, Piper is the true evil in the world.
Yeah,
so.
they're like, she's the Antichrist, let her die. He's like, he's not her white lighter anymore, and his powers probably wouldn't work anyway, because she wasn't hurt fighting evil. So it's not really clear why the elders aren't letting him. Is it because he's not the white lighter anymore, or is it because like because he says his powers probably won't work. Not that they won't let him do it, but just it probably won't work.
No, but he says they wouldn't let him too. But then he says also they probably wouldn't work. It's like, well, why won't they let you if it won't work? Like, what one is it, Leo?
What's the rules here? Pretty sure later on he's healing like paper cuts and neon signs. So
yeah,
this is all very dumb.
He had to give up like his ridiculous power he has in this episode to be able to heal signs later. So it was a good trade-off, really, because he can like intercept the dying in this.
Yeah, they're acting like he can't heal anyone who wasn't hurt fighting evil, but I'm certain that they do later.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he's got to go. His home planet needs him. Prue and Phoebe are like, screw the rules! We're going to do an awakening spell. They very quickly brush over how they find out this spell. I think just for time, they just crack open the book and they're like, an awakening spell.
All right, they're doing an awakening spell and also like putting the disease in a proxy, right?
Yeah. They skim over this, though, because they open the Book of Shadows and then smash cut to the hospital, and they're like, we're doing the awakening spell. I'm going to get the blood. You get a poppet.
Right.
Which you just have to gather from what they're saying, that they're going to wake her up and then put the disease into this poppet thing.
Yeah, they don't really explain that well.
Yeah, I think they might have cut something. It feels like they would have explained it a little more, but they might have, like, went over on time or something.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb. There's no like real talk about this because like you gather from what happens because the doll gets the disease in it and starts infecting people.
Yeah, and like I appreciate, I guess, that it wasn't that hand-holdy, but I feel like this was kind of important to the plot of the episode, so they might have needed to be a little clearer on it.
I feel like just even a quick line as they're doing, like, all right, so we're going to wake her up and we'll put the disease in the doll. Like, all you need is something like that.
Yeah, just something like that. When they get to the hospital, Prue puts on her finest knitwear furry duster jacket thing, patchwork, weird outfit.
Like the Sixth Doctor.
Yeah, it looks like something like a doctor would be wearing. Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Dr. Prue.
Dr. Prue.
So Prue goes to get Piper's blood. Phoebe's in charge of getting the poppet. She decides that this poppet has to be this ninja toy that she has gone out of her way to make this little boy connect to.
Yeah, that's just mean.
Yeah, you could have gotten any other doll, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to steal this something that this little boy is attached to now.
Yeah.
I'm in danger.
Did it have to be a doll even? Like, this is again, like they don't explain anything about this, so we don't know what the rule is of what it has to be put into.
Yeah. But surely they could have found something, like, at home.
Yeah, you would think.
They probably have some ugly doll or something over there. And
well, I'm not getting rid of my special edition Barbie.
Yeah, you know Phoebe has a closet full of them. She's like, nah.
No, not mine.
No, I like this one too much. Oh, what about that little boy that I got attached to that ninja doll? Yeah, I can take that from him.
The thing is, I gotta think about me.
Yeah.
Cut to her playing with the dolls like,
hello, Ken.
Hello, Barbie. I mean, Phoebe. I'm neighbor Dan. So, she goes in and goes like, give me that doll, and then takes it.
Yeah, boy cries as she leaves.
Yeah, the little boy. And the little boy's like, and she goes, never do drugs. And she leaves.
Wow, Phoebe, you're the greatest.
Wow, they should give you a hero's wage, Phoebe.
If only they set up a foundation for little ninja boys. Someone should do that.
Phoebe plays, Phoebe plays, Phoebe plays.
Anyway, now that the two people who know the Dark Place references we've been making are still here. So neighbor Dan is, he's truly acting. He's truly acting. He's holding onto Piper's hand. He's crying, and then he gets brushed away to go find some sodas. Like,
Hey, boy, we can use some sodas. Why don't you go get out here and get some sodas for us?
Oh, man.
and he's like, I will get the sodas. And he runs out and slips on his hair grease.
Slimes out.
Yeah, he leaves a trail like a little snail.
Yeah. Should we do anything about that blob guy?
We got other things to worry about, all right? There's a lot of things happening at this hospital at the moment. So Prue and Phoebe start casting this spell. And just then, Dr. Asshole tries to walk in. Hey, what's going on in here? And then Prue just uses her power, slams the door on him. He's like, hey, what's going on here? Don't shut the door with me with your psychic powers.
Yeah. This is annoying. I will not attempt to get security or anything. I will just continue to bang on this door.
No, at no point does he seem to acknowledge that she has used powers to shut the door. No. He thinks someone just slammed it, but he obviously was looking right at the door when no one was there.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense.
So Piper wakes up. The disease has been put into this ninja doll, which Phoebe promptly throws away.
Yeah.
She's like,
yeah, thanks, little boy.
Throws it in the hazardous wastes.
Yeah. Such an asshole move. Neighbor Dan rushes over with some sodas. Oh! And then he delivers the flattest "you're okay" I've ever heard. Yeah. You're okay.
You're okay.
Oh my goodness.
He just tosses the sodas aside into the wall, spraying everywhere as you go, you're okay.
I just opened them in her face. You're okay. Shh. Here, have one. And like pours it in her mouth as she's laying there.
He turned into that guy in Howling 4, like, are you okay?
Yeah.
So Piper is completely fine now. She's complaining about going home, like,
I gotta get out of here. Quit being concerned over me and that disease that I had.
Neighbor Dan and her sisters proceed to crush her.
Yeah.
They all hop onto the bed simultaneously.
Piper is like, get off of me.
Yeah, get off of me.
I mean, I don't blame her.
Yeah.
They all leg dropped her simultaneously.
Already dead.
Cut to the most ridiculous part of the episode, the ninja toy coming to life.
Yeah, it opens its eyes and it's just a person in the ninja doll outfit running around.
Oh my god, the effects are hilarious. They have these all these like green screened, like it's a person in a ninja outfit with a mask on to look like a toy, and then they've screened them in to be tiny. And I think at some point in some giant sets, running around stabbing people with an infection.
Yeah. Somehow his like little plastic swords are now like real, I guess, and like stab people.
It'd be hilarious if it was plastic and he couldn't do anything. It was like those little swords you find in like the olives or a pizza, like it's not doing anything.
Those are probably stronger than what this doll would really have, because they probably just be the kind you bend, like they would bend immediately when it presses it against people's ankles.
Yeah, it's in a children's ward. They're not going to have anything that can really stab someone. This is hilarious. I love all the shots of this ninja because like this episode, it has some goofy stuff about it, but I think like at that point in the series, it was something worth exploring, like, can you use magic to save the day when there's the personal gain and you're fighting a disease?
Yeah.
They have some pretty decent acting. And then you have them weeping while there's a ninja toy running around, stabbing people, looking janky as fuck.
It's so silly. I love it.
Very good. So the girls, that night... Apparently they don't keep her there to check her over or anything. They let her go that night. This is 2 a.m. The girls are at P3 partying it up.
Yeah.
Prue is DJing. Just hanging there. Piper, looking pretty good for someone post-coma. She was in a coma for 24 hours. She is in a see-through lace top and a bralette.
Yeah.
A rare sexy outfit for Piper as well. I don't think they dressed her that sexy that often.
Post-coma.
post-coma outfit. The third choker of the episode. Phoebe goes over and tries to get neighbor Dan to dance with her.
Yeah.
Again, trying to steal neighbor Dan.
It really felt like she was trying to hit on him here.
Yeah. And he's like, no, I've acted too much today. I'm tired.
Yeah. He's like, and Piper, I mean, you've been sleeping all day, so no wonder you're still alert. I'm tired.
Yeah, he's no fair. You've been asleep for almost 24 hours. You're rested from your coma.
Shut up, you idiot.
Turns out she isn't tired because of the spell, which means that they don't sleep. I don't think this is that plot relevant. I mean, the stuff with the disease is relevant, but the fact that they don't sleep, I don't think it really comes to anything.
No, this feels like it could have been a different plot, but they don't really go there. Also, like, Piper turns into Sonic the Hedgehog briefly, which really comes to nothing.
Yeah, they show her, like, fast motion, like, they do fast forward and she's cleaning the bar, and then, like, Phoebe's like, oh, I think we found the personal gain here, or the consequence to it, but then it's never explained what that was, because that doesn't have anything to do with anything.
Yeah, it never comes up again. Like, maybe just Phoebe's tripping, because she kind of comes off like she's, like, wasted or high as shit a few times in this scene. She's like, hey! And then you see her, like, rubbing her nose because she's just snorting.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because they didn't sleep, or maybe it's supposed to be just, she's not really watching it in fast motion, but it's just Piper's doing that, and because she's so wired because she doesn't sleep now?
Yeah,
Is that maybe what it is?
I mean, I think it's supposed to be something like that. She's just so wired, but like she can never move like that again in the episode, so it doesn't make any sense, really.
Yeah, I have no idea what that was about. They don't explain it. Even though she says we found a consequence, what is the consequence? She cleaned the bar really quick? Yeah. That's a gain, right?
Too fast for the naked eye, Piper.
Yeah, it's a pro, not a con.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, this was hilarious. So, neighbor Dan and Piper kiss, and then you hear some clapping. I thought it was applause. Like, oh, they're kissing, ha ha ha, good for you. It's actually Phoebe and Prue playing patty cake. Like, what is going on?
Yeah. Tell me like, Phoebe is not tripping out. You're sitting around in the bar playing patty cake.
They're playing patty cake. I love this. It was so random, but I loved it.
I love too. They like both have these like guilty looks as Piper comes over and sees them playing patty cake.
Yeah, like they got in trouble with mom.
Quit playing patty cake in my bar.
That's cruel.
Oh, Piper is like, hey, about me coming out of a coma, you didn't cast a spell, did you? Because this is probably falls under personal gain, and then they're like, I don't know, maybe because we saved a protector of the innocent, it didn't count. And they're like, yeah, probably not. And then that's when they see the thing going on at the bar. This is after Prue has left, because she decides at 2 a.m. she's going to go authenticate this Monet painting. Yeah. Is Buckland's even open at 2 a.m? She's going to go in there at 2 a.m?
Yeah, some late night authenticating, you know how that is.
And how long does it take to do this? Because she's apparently still doing it into the morning when Lochlyn Munro comes in. So what is she doing this whole time?
A wild night. Authenticating all over the place.
Whoa. Back at the hospital, we see the ninja toy spreading this disease. And they realize things are serious. There's people being treated, and we have this random, there seems to be some story going on. There's a Goron moment here, right? That we're not privy to.
Yeah.
This like cynical and gritty CDC guy comes in.
Yeah, there's some weird relationship with him and the crappy doctor.
Yeah, like he's like, hey, I know you want to write a paper on this, but quit bugging me. Why are you calling the CDC in for this? And he's like, oh yeah, well, I think that this is this virus. And he's like, well, it's not supposed to be contagious. And he's like, oh yeah, well, guess what? It is now.
It's very weird. It's like, this is very an early Charmed thing where it's like they're trying to give any personality to like these random characters like this, but the way they did in this episode doesn't really make sense because this relationship between these two really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of the episode.
Yeah. Well, you know what I think was going on there? I think they were setting up the doctor guy for the payoff in another episode.
The monkeys.
Yeah, the monkey one. Okay, so this doctor comes back in another episode. This is after the events of this episode where he is suspicious that something is going on. He proceeds to show up in another episode and be killed because I don't remember the exact plot. I think maybe... For some reason, these monkeys end up with the girl's powers, and I believe they kill him. And this is treated as a very emotional moment. Like, Piper still cared about innocents dying at that time, so she's, like, weeping on her bed about this doctor being murdered.
He had such great bedside manner.
Yeah, so I think maybe the thing with the CDC guy was setting up that he is a doctor that kind of is willing to go the extra mile for his work, maybe do some unscrupulous things, or, that he's kind of pushy about stuff. I think that's what they were trying to do, but it's weird because mostly I'm wondering about this CDC guy who thinks he's like a cool, like, gritty character.
Yeah, you had to call me up for this, man.
Yeah, like he might as well have pulled out a cigarette, like, what do you want, man?
Mm-hmm.
They seem to have some pre-existing relationship that's never expounded upon.
Yeah.
So anyway, the next day at Buckland's, Prue is talking to Lochlyn Munro. She's like, yeah, Piper's okay. She miraculously healed. Don't worry about it. But we can't fool ourselves because what we have isn't real. And he thinks that she means the relationship.
Yeah.
But she's actually talking about the painting.
Wah, wah. You can see this coming because, he's like getting all sad as she's saying these stupid things, like in a very, like, in a way that no one would really talk, just so that he can misinterpret what she's talking about.
Yeah, this is on Prue for wording it the way she does, because absolutely, like, you would think that's not about the painting.
Yeah, like, if she had purposely done it, it would be less stupid, because, like, she could have done it as, like, a joke kind of thing. Like, It's like, I'm talking about the painting, dummy. Like, kind of, playful joke, says he's been stupid, so he deserves something like that.
But I don't think, I think maybe, I don't know, maybe she was doing it on purpose, because it seems through this episode she is wanting to break it off anyway, so.
Well, I think she only decides that right at the end. But.
Maybe. He proceeds to have a very thinly veiled conversation about their relationship while pretending it's about the painting. Mm-hmm. But he is, in fact, talking about both.
Yeah, she realizes.
Yeah. They play some scary music to pretend he's like a bad guy or something. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Again, I don't know why these two are together at all. They seem to have contempt for each other. This is foreshadowing the Leo Piper situation.
He kind of says, like, yeah, okay, so the painting's fake, but, like, pretty much everyone thinks it's real, so is it really hurting anyone if we sell it as a legit one?
Yeah, okay, so she says that this Monet painting is a fake, and he's like, well, we could sell it anyway, because, like, it doesn't really matter if it's real or not, it's what people think. If they think it's real, then, it's like, reality doesn't matter. Facts don't matter. It's if you believe that it's real.
Yeah.
And of course, he's talking about their relationship, like, maybe even though it's not real, if we could act like it's real, then it's real or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Then it'll become real.
Yeah, not a great relationship. So meanwhile, some dudes in hazmat suits storm P3 to take Phoebe and Piper into quarantine. And they're like, we're going to quarantine this entire place. P3 is going to be shut down.
They grab some of her fruit. You would think all, fruit. But no, yeah. Some.
So Piper is mostly annoyed that what this is doing to business, that they're being taken into quarantine. Meanwhile, this doctor is having a press conference inside the hospital.
Yeah, the doctor and the CDC guy both had this press conference, so no one is doing any proper work. Like, these are the two in charge of this quarantine who should be working on how to stop this spread. And they're having a press conference. On this.
Yeah, they should be working on this right in the midst of this epidemic going on at this hospital. But also, why would you have the press conference in the hospital?
In the place you're quarantining.
Yeah, what is that about? Especially because they don't know how it's being transmitted yet. So it's not supposed to be infectious, but it is.
Yeah.
This guy's supposed to be an expert at transmittable diseases. Mm-hmm. And he's like, come on in, everyone.
We're having a press conference.
The CDC should know about this. The CDC, this is for disease control. Yeah. And they're like, come on in, everyone.
Yeah, they're both teamed up in their dumbassery now.
Failures on every single level. Every level you could possibly, even ones that don't exist, in a different dimension. Yeah. Failure in that level. Phoebe and Piper are in quarantine at the hospital. They complain. Prue is brought in. She seems to have turned her hospital gown into a more fashionable wrap of sorts. Like she's like tied it up and clipped it all tight. Like I guess they wanted the hospital gowns to look sexy.
I think the three of them all did that.
Oh, they all did that? Yeah. No one does that with their hospital gowns.
Yeah, all of them seem to be a little more fitted than hospital gowns really are.
Like, who doing this episode is just like, they're not fuckable enough in these hospital gowns. Wrap them up. They might as well have like fashioned them into halter tops.
Yeah.
Gotta look good. They realize that they haven't slept because of the spell, and maybe this infection has to do with them. I don't know. It could possibly relate to this spell that they cast in the personal gain consequences.
Yeah, they're really indignant about it first before it really dawns on them. Oh yeah, maybe we did this. And it's like, oh,
we might be killing people.
Like, we want to go home. We want to be here. They never really are clear, too, about whether anyone died from this or not.
Yeah, they don't say if anyone did, but they don't say if they didn't.
Yeah, so they possibly have deaths on their hands.
Yeah, honestly. We cut to the ninja toy going after the little boy. We're left on a cliffhanger. They're like, dun dun dun.
Luckily, like the ninja doll too, like it gets right up to the kid and has a sword up, but instead of like just thrusting down, it like does these big swings as it's getting ready to stab him.
He's showing off his form first.
This goes on for like minutes apparently, because he's about ready to stab the kid before it cuts away, and then it's like cuts back and he's still swinging in the air ready to stab him.
Sure, it's taking me a long time to press this button.
I could have stabbed like 30 kids in this time.
Do something! Do it!
Meanwhile, Dr. Idiot goes in to see the girls. And they're like, hey, why don't you have a mask on? And he's like, don't worry, I don't need one. The disease isn't airborne. I just ruled that out. Mm-hmm. He literally says, I just ruled that out. Like,
when? During your press conference?
Such a sloppy line, and he says it so casual.
I just ruled that out because I had a press conference. No one at the press conference caught it. So that's not it. That's why I held the press conference.
He says it like he's a high schooler imparting some information that he knows jack all about. Mm-hmm. You know, I just ruled that out. It's fine. I just realized like
how this is happening, how it works at all, but I ruled something out somehow while doing a press conference.
I thought the condom was broken, but it wasn't. I just ruled that out. So.
I debunked this as not being a bug. It was a ghost.
We just ruled that out. We ruled out bugs. Anyway, he's like, Piper, you're a freak. You don't have any antibodies, and you should have antibodies if you fought off this disease. So technically, you should be dead. He says this with no bedside manner, and they even say like, "Hey, you got to work on your bedside manner, idiot! Like, you should be fucking dead, man. Why aren't you dead?"
That is one of the truest statements ever said in Charmed, though. This Piper should be dead.
Should be dead. She is the angel of death. Everyone acts super antagonistic, but perhaps they should, because this doctor's an idiot.
Oh yeah.
So once he leaves, they conclude that they have awakened everything in the room when they did the spell, which includes the disease. I don't know why that... They could have just said, we put it in this doll, and... I don't know, maybe they should have said they woke the doll up, and that's why it's going around infecting people, because I don't know, this is kind of a confusing explanation.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, they figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Piper's like, well, in order to save everyone, you have to reverse the spell. So let's just call Leo and it'll be cool. Just infect me again and then Leo will heal me.
Yeah, it's weird how they just reverse the awakening spell and that changes the doll.
Well, it took it out of the doll and it wasn't awake anymore. It was
I get, like, the disease should have still been in it though, right? Because they only reversed the awakening spell.
No, they awakened the disease, so when it went back into her... Yeah, that's what they said. They awakened the disease, and then, and I guess that's why the doll's animated, but when they put it back in her, it's asleep again in her, or something or other. That's how they do it. But anyway, she's like, yeah, don't worry about it. Just give me the deadly disease again, and then Leo will heal me. And then Phoebe's like, I thought you said no. And she's like, she says the obvious. She's like, well, I didn't think I was dying at the time. Call Leo.
I just don't get why the poppet spell is connected directly to the awakening spell. Like, why reversing that one?
No, the poppet is part of the awakening spell.
Shouldn't they have known then that would wake up?
I don't know. They're idiots. And then Prue's like, yeah, well, we can't call Leo because we already called him and he said that he can't help. And then Piper complains that they contacted him when she said not to.
Classic charmed ones.
So Prue uses her astral projection power, which I forgot she had, but that was kind of nifty, kind of handy. She uses that to go home and look at the Book of Shadows and figure out how to reverse the spell. Because Piper's just like, yeah, I guess if I gotta die, I gotta die. What are you gonna do?
You know what? You're a sacrifice we're willing to make, Piper.
When Prue is looking through the Book of Shadows, I guess she somehow sees what the ninja doll is doing. I'm not sure why she sees that, but she does. I think because she casts some sort of spell and then sees where the disease went.
I don't know.
Even though they knew the poppet doll was part of it. I don't know. For whatever reason, she sees the doll's gonna go after the kid. And she can't believe how stupid it is. She comes back. They reverse the spell just in time to save the little boy. The doll turns back into a doll, falls to the ground. Piper's knocked out again on her ass. We hear a flatline as the girls cry. The world has become a better place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. As like neighbor Dan is drinking a soda, like a Coke. He rushes into the hospital because he sees on the news about this going on, that the girls are in quarantine. So neighbor Dan rushes into the hospital so he can half-assedly yell at receptionists. And he's like, I'm family! Yeah. And they're like, oh, well, go right in.
Well, he goes, I'm more than family. I'm a neighbor.
Go right the fuck in! They part like the Red Sea. Just bring him in!
And he gets in there. And remember, this hospital is currently under quarantine. He somehow breaks quarantine because he comes in and says, I'm their neighbor family. Let me in.
They're like, cool.
Well,
get in. That's not like there's a bunch of paparazzi and shit that wouldn't pull the same thing. But whatever.
Yeah.
He said he's family.
Guess that's fine. Go die.
Charmed. When your neighbor's your family.
Unless your neighbor Dan's niece, who's dead now.
Yeah, she's dead. So, then we get this hilarious moment where Piper ghosts out of her body. She floats into a lens flare. Oh!
She's like, I expected it to be a lot hotter.
Yeah, went to heaven, how even I didn't call that one.
Are you sure someone didn't like screw up some paperwork? I don't think I'm supposed to be here.
She's sitting there in some heavenly dimension of some sort, and then out of the lens flare comes her magical handyman. Oh.
Yeah. This is a power Leo doesn't have later.
Yeah, this is early Leo because they were acting more like he was kind of an angel of some sort of mystery. There was like more mystery to it.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, take my hand. Just take my hands and I can heal you. It's the only way that the elders won't find out. Because what?
Yeah.
Like, what is he talking about?
Apparently the elders don't monitor, I don't know, in between life and death, however he's doing this. Even though they definitely are, because he gets caught immediately.
Yeah, they immediately find out. So he was talking out of his ass. Yeah. I like that he's wearing a flannel shirt in heaven.
Well, this is just, limbo, I guess. I don't know.
Lens flare limbo.
Lens flare limbo.
Back in the real world, the doctor's like, call it. What are you going to do?
Right.
Our long national nightmare is over.
He's like, well, if you think she made it, guess again. Zips up the body bag.
Unfortunately, Leo brings her back to life.
and brings hate upon the world.
The doctor's reaction to this is hilarious. It's not one of joy or wonder. It's kind of indignation. Mm-hmm. Like he's like, I will find out what happened. Yeah. Crushes a soda can in his hand.
I hate this.
I hate this. So he's just waiting to get killed in his next episode. They left us hanging on that one. After all this, Prue decides she's going to quit Buckland's. She doesn't like them being shady about this Monet. She's going to quit Buckland's and her relationship.
By the way, like when they reversed the spell, did that take it out of anyone the Poppet had infected? We don't really know, do we?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
They're all dead.
They're all dead.
That little boy died. Yeah. Prue has a very interesting outfit on. Everyone has interesting outfits. She has a very interesting outfit on when she goes to Buckland's. I kind of like it, but it's kind of hideous.
It kind of looks like she's like ready for the gym or something.
Yeah, she's got this like crop top hoodie on, and then this like iridescent purple duster jacket or blouse, like a raincoat. I don't know what it's supposed to be.
It looks like a jacket.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but I like the colors on it. So Lochlyn Munro shows up so she can break up with him.
Yeah, she's like, I'm kind of sick of Buckland's. Apparently everyone is just into lying about authenticity on paintings now, because it wasn't just him. Apparently everyone, like all their higher-ups, are like, oh, it's fake, but we're going to say it's real? Okay.
Yeah, this was a development apparently happened off-screen, because Lochlyn Munro seemed to be the only one suggesting this. Yeah. Unless he's, like, above her. I'm not sure what his job was supposed to be.
But she's saying, like, everyone was apparently in on this when she's talking about it and why she's leaving Buckland's.
Yeah, the last time we saw them, it was just Lochlyn Munro saying to do this. But apparently everyone agreed off-screen, and so that's why she decides to quit. So it kind of seems like a non sequitur. It's like, oh, I guess that happened?
Yeah.
She's quitting so she can become a photographer for the rest of the season. She really should have broken up with him after the twin thing, though. I really feel like she should have broken up with him a long time ago.
And then stayed with the other twin.
Yeah. At P3, Piper is getting rid of the rest of the fruit. The CDC had the whole place quarantined and did not get rid of the fruit. She specifically said she had, and that they determined had the flies in it.
We saw them take some of it, but apparently there were still boxes of it around.
Yeah. What were they doing this whole episode? Failures.
They're too
Everyone's
busy.
A failure.
Like, we were gonna get the rest of the fruit, but we had to rush over here and do this press conference. That was like way more important. Obviously, the precedent here.
What's wrong with everyone?
Forget it! I'm not doing it! This episode was badly written!
Prue is there celebrating her newfound unemployment with a backless silver halter top. Phoebe is there wearing the fourth choker of the episode. And also her halter top is insane. Absolutely fucking insane. It is a jean crotch. Yeah. I don't know how else to explain this. She has cut out the front of a pair of jeans, the crotch, and pasted it onto her breasts. She is wearing a crotch on her chest.
I like the idea she just pasted it right onto her chest.
What the fuck is going on? This is the most hideous thing I've ever seen in my life. This may be the worst thing that she has ever worn. It's the front of a pair of jeans.
Yeah, she wants
turned into
a little more
top.
cleavage. She undoes the fly.
She went. Oh, your fly's undone. What is going on?
Pretty terrible.
I was losing it when we saw that.
But we know who's into that. And this is probably why she's wearing it, because she's been hitting on Neighbor Dan this entire episode. So she's like, what would he be into? He's a greasy butt crack poo flap. Maybe,
yes.
No, I would be the front end and he's the back end.
Because it's jeans, is it like a jolter job? I don't know.
Crotcher top.
Anyway, Leo wanders into the club so he and Piper can have a moment.
Leo is really stupid though, because it's like he walks in and it's like he doesn't look in the area where Piper and them would normally be, like around the bar.
Yeah, she works there. She would likely be there.
He walks in and starts staring at a wall where there's a few other randos.
Yeah, weird. So he's standing there, and then Piper comes over to him, and he's like, yeah, I got in trouble. I guess I'm suspended, and they turned me human for a little bit. Mm-hmm. Seems like he got off pretty light.
Really now.
It seems like you just take the L if that's all that happens if you save someone from dying from a horrible disease.
Yeah. And like his stupid, like, oh, they won't notice if I do it here. He could have just done it right away, apparently. Got caught all the same and the same outcome.
Yeah, he even says it's just a temporary suspension.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'll just be human for a little bit. I think this may be the first time he was turned human, unless... I don't remember what happened at the end of season 1.
This probably is.
It might be. But anyway, he seems more concerned with the fact that he wants to get with Piper, but she's with neighbor Dan, the ultimate love triangle. Mm. And she's like,
yeah, well, I'm with neighbor Dan now, so what are you gonna do?
Everything, because I'm human now and I've nothing else to do.
Yeah. Well, he says he's gonna fight neighbor Dan for her. May the best man win.
Did the elders give Leo any cash or anything? Like, is he renting a place while he's temporarily human here?
I want to say this actually was a plot point in a later episode that, like, he goes on a date and he's trying to impress her, but he doesn't have any money because he's not used to being human again.
But where's he living?
I feel like that did happen. I don't know. I think he gets money because he works for her, because I think he works at P3 for a little bit.
Okay.
But I don't know where he's living.
Right.
He's homeless. Anyway, that's the end of the episode. Phelan, what are your final thoughts on Awakened?
It's a mix of good and bad. Like, this is like some parts are so silly. Like you're saying, they are trying in more in some parts, but it's also like Piper is so stupid. She brings this problem upon herself, and then their stupid solution is apparently a spell they didn't check up on very well. Like, oh yeah, I guess it was going to wake up this doll that would go and try and kill everyone. Guess we should have looked at the fine print on that a little closer. Everyone's pretty stupid. That said, like, it's not later charmed. There is still some empathy for people going on. So it's nice. Like, the Prue stuff's alright. Some of the Buckland's plot just kind of feels thrown in on this episode, though. I don't know how well that gels with the whole rest of it, but yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, yeah, I think they were trying to move on from some storyline things in kind of a clunky way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this episode, like, I liked that it was during the seasons where they would try, so there were some moments they were trying to have some emotional resonance. Whether or not you care depends on if you care about charm that much, but I feel like they were trying, and the acting from everyone but neighbor Dan was pretty decent. Yeah, there were some things that were just, like, batshit insane about this, but in a good way, like that early 2000s, late 90s kind of way where you can enjoy this. Like, what are you even doing? But I had fun watching this episode. I'm glad we got to rewatch it.
Yeah.
So Phelan, who is your Margoyle or Carman? Margoyle being the standout loser of the episode, the Carman, a hero.
My Margoyle of the episode is Dr. Bedside Manner. This guy sucked. Just every time he does the wrong thing. I love particularly his one conversation is basically like, all right, so you girls love your sister, right? Like, yeah. Like, well, don't get too attached. Huh? All right. Now, I know I should be dealing with this, but I just called in my CDC buddy, and we're going to have a press conference.
Yeah.
I suck at my job.
Yeah, that's my Margoyle too. It was basically both of them, him and the CDC guy, for the exact same reasons. Idiots.
So dumb. And
do you have a car man? Can a car man be awarded?
A car man. My car man is the ninja doll.
Because he killed the little boy.
Yeah. He possibly killed many. We don't know. But it was just so silly. I loved all those dumb scenes of the guy running around in the stupid ninja doll outfit and being green screened, or in his little tiny or giant sets, I guess, pretending he's tiny. Silly stuff. Swinging his sword for like 5 minutes instead of stabbing. So, I guess we know your Margoyle. Do you have a car man?
Yeah, my car man. I believe this is going to be the second time that I am awarding the car man to a fly. But yeah, the fly in the fruit that nearly killed Piper. Not all heroes wear capes. That about does it. Anything else you want to say about Awakened?
Absolutely not.
All right. Well, everyone, if you enjoyed this episode of Charmed Rewind, we'd appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, or review wherever you are enjoying it. You can find us in audio form at anchor.fm under Charmed Rewind. You can find us on YouTube under youtube.com/Movie Nights the Series. You can find Phelan's stuff at youtube.com/Phelis. You can participate in polls or see episodes ahead of time, or all sorts of other stuff on Patreon. My Patreon is patreon.com/movie nights, and Phelan's Patreon, patreon.com/Phelis. Thanks to Peter Hunter for editing the podcast for us. He has been hard at work on Riff Tracks. He's been working on Riff Tracks the game. He's been doing videos for their YouTube channel, and you can find him at Pretor Hunter on Twitter. What hashtags should we use, Phelan?
Hashtag Dr. Bedside.
Hashtag not all heroes wear capes.
Hashtag Piper and the Fly.
Hashtag crotch or top. All right, that's it. We'll see you Charmanders next time. Happy Halloween! Unless it comes out after Halloween. I don't know. We'll see.